And those of you who know me also know. Yeah. Yeah. You also know me well enough to know that if it gets close to the deadline, you're going, oh, no, we're not going to make that one. But I did want to make a note here. This is what we just discussed, what's on this slide. The online people, it looks like they're supposed to enter discussion. They are not online people. We are going to do this February 3rd when I'm in Sevierville. And by the way, any of you who want to go to Sevierville February 3rd, I'm going to meet with the online group from 10 until 2. 4 Saturdays we'll meet with them. I really think y'all should get together.
Well, I guess I did. I emailed you.
Yeah.
I noticed she was still doing it.
Yeah, there's the online section, but you have to go to Sevierville 4 days a week. Or 4 days a week. No, you don't.
How far from you?
About an hour and a half,
Yeah,
45 minutes. But I really hope that sometime both groups can meet, because you're really kind of cohort groups. You're going through some of the same things at the same time. So let's look ahead at writing your problem statement and goals and objectives. And this is kind of a guide for when you read chapter 3, but kind of go back and look at it. The big thing in a grant is to support your problem statement with compelling data. So if you're thinking of doing that science lab, what's the compelling data that tells us this is something we need to be doing for these kids? And Philip, you quoted some when you said United States is 17th in the country, in the world, in science achievement. Now that's pretty compelling, because we like to think of ourselves as, we're kind of arrogant here in the United States, in case you didn't catch that. A little arrogant. We think we're the best. So, use comparative statistics and data where appropriate. Like the countries where they're doing this are number 1 and 2 in the country or in the world. But look at us. So use comparative. Make sure your data is documented. So if you're going to give that claim, where did it come from? Where did you get that information? Use real stories of people if there is room or if there's a call for it. For instance, in Tammy's AR article, it would be good to put in a story like Tahani's and say, but is there a good side to AR? So real stories help in your problem statement. The biggest thing in your problem statement is to create a sense of urgency. You want the reader to say, oh, wow, we do need to take care of this right now. So you'll move from there to goals and objectives, and something to think about as we get into it, and this is just to think about. What's the difference between a process goal and an outcome goal? Because this trips people up. A process goal is what you do. Often that's not your goal and objective. So if we're looking at doing Fatima's idea of we want to have a buddy for every child with special needs to be included in the classroom, a process will be we will match the aid with the child based on needs and personality. That's not a goal. We often write it like that. That's a process. That's what you're going to do. Your outcome goal is, the outcome of that is the child with special needs will be integrated and will learn faster than what they would if they were isolated. So really keep each other accountable on that for outcome versus process. And often your feedback is, that's a process goal. That's not an outcome. When you start writing your grant, you're going to get together all your data and information for first your article and then your grant. That's where these logs come in. You have to have your information first. So when we're looking at this, and I think we're going to change this, your article search log, the one we talked about first, is due February 22nd. So you've got some time to do that. Your grant log is supposed to be due February 15th. Well, we've had a couple things happen. I was sick last week and couldn't be here. He is sick, and it's not fair to move ahead without him. And I really don't think, maybe you could get it done 2 weeks from next week. Let's see how we're doing next week. But you can't really start on your grant log until you come up with a topic. But just know that that is an assignment. It's the exact same thing as your article log, but you're collecting articles for your grant. The other big difference is it's a group project. So you'll have to work together to find out What search terms should we use? That's where we'll spend some class time. We'll say, okay, you try this, I'll try this, I'll try this. So you probably, as a group, will turn in that log. Does that make sense?
So it will not be due 22.
Your article one will be due the 22nd
Yes.
because you've got your topic you need to start. The grant one says it's due February 15th. It's not going to be. It's going to just hold off on when it's due until we can meet next week. Because and don't anybody get the flu between now and then? We're moving ahead without you, sorry. So next week we have a guest speaker. Dr. Sharp's going to be coming. One purpose of this class is to get you to meet all of the faculty. Now, most of you know most of us, but
I did not know.
yeah, a lot of you don't, or some of you don't. Each faculty will come in and talk a little bit about the research they're doing, any grants they've written, articles they've written. There's two purposes in that. One, I want you to see that they're real people. They really do write. But also, you're going to start picking your committee for your dissertation pretty soon. Sooner than what you think. You have to have a chair, and you have to have at least two other committee members. You want to start listening to these professors and saying, are there any where my interests align with what they're doing? Or are there any that as I listen to them speak, I think I could work with that person? That person could really get me, excited about writing. So every professor in the department will come in at one point or another. And next week it's Dr. Sharp. We're going to do group work on your grant. We're going to work on really getting your grant set up, and talking about your purpose. And then for group discussion in here, I want you next week to know kind of where you're going with your article. And we're going to do what's called advancing your argument, meaning how do we move you from an idea to now I'm getting it into some format for an article. And your CITI training certificate is due next Thursday. Is that going to be a problem? I'll go through it with you.
Yes.
I've already done mine, I've turned in the.
Good. If you've turned it in already, you're
But
okay.
here's the weird thing, I think I signed up for an extra special or something. I'll have to look at it and send you an email. I
Okay.
did the one where it said to do not the veteran.
Right, not the VA hospital.
It was 12 of them, I think.
Okay.
But then I'm like, signed up for something else. I don't know if I signed up just by mistake.
That is the most confusing form anyway.
But do I have to take it if I'm signed up? Okay, that was my concern.
They aren't going to kick you out or anything. It's just,
I mean, I think I just clicked something
they're
wrong.
going to say, Tammy signed up for this and never took it. She cannot graduate. No, all they want is the basic. They want the basic one for you to be able to do dissertation research. So any questions about next week?
I've uploaded it if you don't care to look at it.
Okay, I will look at that right now. That's all for this. I'm going to stop. There will be now 2 Tegrity